I don't know if this is if this is a big discussion topic. I mean, it could be, but it's certainly just a personal rant. And I don't get to do that enough.
Hashtag Russell's rant. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody knows what FICO scores are, right?
Mm-hmm.
FICO.
Fair Isaac. What I remember the rest of it.
Fair Isaac and Company. Yes.
Credit score.
Nice. Wow. I was surprised because I had to look that one up today. I didn't know. So FICO's a brand name. It's a trademark of a company that aggregates credit scores, and they are used everywhere. There's a new company called eDriver that has a driver monitoring system that a lot of companies use to make their drivers better. And what eDriver has done has licensed the FICO name to these driver scores. So the drivers for these companies get a FICO driving score. Now, why they decided to do that, I don't know, but
insurance.
I'll guess, I'll project, I'll say because they want to make it like FICO credit scores, where you need that to get a job or an apartment or lots of other things that those credit scores get used for. So now, if you install this little app on your phone, your FICO score could change your insurance rate. It could mean you don't get hired someplace because you have a low FICO driving score. It's a huge potential mess. Is it a mess right now? I don't know, but I don't know very much about it. I don't know where the data goes.
I know some of my neighbors would not be allowed to drive in the complex because they drive too fast and dangerously around the children and other cars.
I happily acknowledge that driver monitoring could make a lot of drivers better.
It could.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you think it'll make it better for them or make them better? Or do you think it just drives up their rates?
I think it's the latter. Yes.
Yes, to both.
Yeah. And do you have a choice? A lot of these cars are connected, even if they don't advertise a connection package. They are still, as we found out from our previous show with the security, they are still connected, even if they are not selling it to the customer. And do you have a choice in whether or not they're reporting your habits, and will they acknowledge it to you?
Well, let's say you work.
The whole privacy thing there is interesting.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm sorry, Patrick, go on.
I was just gonna say if they're recording data about you without your knowledge, there's a real privacy concern there.
And that's how they started. The original credit score, we didn't know shit about it before they showed up, and then all of a sudden they lost some court cases, and they had to disclose what your score was, and then they had to give it to you, but they still use it. They were collecting all this data without your permission.
Right. And they're selling it without giving you any money.
Yes.
They're charging you to get access to it.
Mm-hmm.
Losing your personal information all over the world.
Let's say
you're
they've
been hacked.
Driver for some company, and you got to use this app as part of your job. Mm-hmm. You don't own that data. Mm-hmm. They own that data. So stuff that happened at a job maybe that you had 3 or 4 years ago could come back potentially to could hurt you significantly, because who knows how these numbers are going to be used. I think it's telling that eDriver use this trademark name, and I think that's telling. Why not just call it your eDrive score or something? Yeah. But FICO is definitely like, we want this to be a universal number of your aptitude behind the wheel.
Yep. They want you, and it makes it easier to sell it to the consumers of the data as well. Because remember, you're not the consumer here. You are the product. They're selling you.
Yes.
So if they come to the bank or the insurance company or the apartment complex and say, hey, we've got a FICO driving score. Would you like that in addition to your FICO 8 or FICO 12 or FICO 3? Because a lot of them like to use the old stuff, the one that hurts you the most, rather than the new one that's more balanced. Especially like the houses, they'll do the FICO 3 or 5, and then they'll take the lowest score, throw it out, and then you've got these scores that might not actually represent how well you pay your stuff.
Right. Also, the bank can say, oh, it's not, you don't have the best score, so we're going to charge you just a little bit more.
Over 30 years, and it's going to add up like
on your car loan. We could maybe charge you more on your car loan because you're a crappy driver. You're a poor risk. Your insurance goes up. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just clicking around through the site. It's really, they heavily are marketing to insurance companies and things. And, like this chart illustrates the lowest scoring 20% of drivers are up to 30% more likely to have a collision in the future than the highest scoring 20%. And, and then I don't know if any of you have done it, but you can get the apps and the fobs from your insurance company, and they take $25 a month off your premium. But
until the first reports start rolling in from that fob,
and then you're hosed.
Then all of a sudden you're paying $25 more a month.
Yeah. Oregon has this program called the Origo, where you plug something into your ODB2 port, and they track you per mile. And I did that for a year in my gas car when I rarely used it. We kept it when I had the Leaf, and so it didn't get used all that much. But when I did, I was being tracked.
Well, get this. There is the possibility that if you use, for example, a Chevy Volt, when you've got the regen paddle on the wheel, if you were to use that, is that a panic stop? Are you slowing down a different way? And they're not expecting that. So does that data go into them as something different? It very well could.
Yeah, I did one of those How Safe Do You Drive apps for a little while, and then I switched to the Volt. They are not set up for EVs. The acceleration pattern is completely different. The stopping pattern is completely different. And
they'll say you're being erratic, driver, because you're not matching the pattern.
And I can't because the car isn't built to do it.
Exactly.
And, that's going to make you look like a horrible driver in their metrics because you're outside of the normal curve.
Yep. And the only reason I kept scoring high was because I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and the people there generally don't drive very well.
And how do you get this changed? How do you fix it? The same way you get your
uninstall the app.
Yeah, that was
unplug it.
If you're lucky.
If you're driving for an employer and that's your job, and you're driving a work vehicle, I think they have the right to monitor you however they want.
Yes. Only, Patrick. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. But I don't think that should be then data that's collected about you that goes out to your insurance and outside of your workplace. Absolutely not. It should never have your name on it. It should have some vehicle number, and then they should know who was driving it at that time.
Yes.
But it should never be personal.
I agree 100%. I agree with absolutely. If it's randomized to an employee number or something or whatever, but the problem again with the branding thing and what I've seen from the screen captures is these people that use this in work with work vehicles are signing in with their name.
And we've seen that these companies don't do a very good job at securing your data.
Right.
In addition to the fact they're already selling it, but like they don't stop from getting hacked.
Right.
Yeah, again, here's the Amazon login page for Amazon drivers. This is what it looks like. So yeah, you put your codes and your names and
yeah.
There is your phone number, your email. There's no question that this is tied to people. So even though you're, for instance, a driver for Lyft or whatever, this FICO score is something that's attached to your name, and that's what really piqued my interest here. Is that's just not right. I agree with Patrick. God, it hurts me to say that.
Oh, wow.
No, it doesn't.
Somebody note this date and time.
I agree with Patrick that an employer has a right when you're driving, especially on their time with their equipment. They have a right to know what's going on. That's not a bad thing. It's that data leaking out that maybe you drive totally differently at home. I don't know. And that's probably giving people more credit than they deserve. If you drive like an asshole at work, you probably drive like an asshole on the way home too.
Probably. Yeah, there was a big study. I heard about it on Freakonomics where they were tracking Uber and Lyft drivers and which ones made the most money and what did they do differently from the others. And there was little things like they would drive 2 miles an hour faster on average, just little things like that. And obviously, the word average has a a lot of ways it can be interpreted. So it was just interesting that data's all there and being tracked. And